anyway, that's an entire guide page. I also did see this one, which was about tips and tricks to winning arena or league battles. Become a champion. And as a player that myself, you'll see that I play in Masters Arena, although I haven't been grinding it too much because I've been away and doing other stuff. But like, I'm in Masters too. I've got a decent set of dragons that can get me through most battles, not all of them. But I've also got the Tower Dragon that can help. And when I think about a Dragon City Arena guide, I'd be thinking something that's going to go in depth about elements, like in terms of specific elements that you might want to pick for certain arenas. I'd assume that it's going to go through the boosted elements, the allowed elements, and the banned elements, which change every single arena. And I'd also assume that this is going to go through something related to legendary VIPs with skills, heroics, heroic VIPs, the differences, and which ones you should probably focus on in this. Well, you'll find that this guide actually doesn't go through any of this because, again, it is completely AI generated and it has absolutely no idea what it's talking about. So, just to give you a quick heads up, it says, welcome to our guide on how to dominate. If you're new to this game, you might be struggling to win battles. So build a strong team. The first and most crucial step to winning battles is building a strong team. Really? Who would have thought? Ensure that your dragons are well-fed, leveled up, and well-fed and leveled up apparently is something different, so I don't know what well-fed is. Well-fed, leveled up, and equipped with the best runes and items available. Runes and items. Okay, are we playing like League of Legends here? Consider the elements and weaknesses of your opponents and build a team that can counter them effectively. Okay, but that's so generic that, you know, what does that actually mean? Learn your dragon's abilities. Each dragon in Dragon City has unique abilities that can be used in battles. That's not true, because there is a massive portion of the dragon selection that we have that has nothing additional. Like Blizzard Dragon, he's just got, you know, his basic attacks. He doesn't have any special skills, he just has attacks. Like, what's unique about him? Or Spicy Dragon? Or let's have a look at Heroics, for instance. Most heroics actually don't have anything additional. They just have their basic attacks and they don't have any skills. Like, they have no skills. What is unique about them, aside from, you know, different elements and very slightly different damage stats? There is nothing unique about them apart from their elemental composition. Their stats are all the same because they're the same category, so there is nothing unique about them. Like, if we were to take a look at, say, High Heroic and High 5, they are pretty much identical, but they've just got a different set of elements. Like, there is no difference. So this makes no sense either. So if we come back, it's essential to understand these abilities and use them to your advantage. For instance, some dragons can inflict critical damage or heal themselves, while others can stun their opponents or apply debuffs. Some dragons can inflict critical damage. Critical damage just means a strong attack. There is no, like, extra skill as far as I'm aware that does that. Like, this just means you have an element that is super effective. Healing, on the other hand, is a skill. So again, this makes no sense. While others can stun their opponents or apply debuffs, those are also skills. So utilize the breeding system. Breeding dragons is an integral part of Dragon City and it can be beneficial in battles. Breeding two different dragons can result in a new dragon with unique abilities and strengths. Experiment with different breeding combinations to find the perfect dragon for your team. So they give no examples, they don't actually explain what you're breeding, what you'd be going for, and the reality is 90-something% of the dragons in the codex are not dragons that you want to be breeding because they are not helpful. The only dragons that you want to be breeding to potentially use them are going to be legendaries, and they generally be 4-element legendaries, and we do have an entire list of breedable dragons that are pinned in my Discord server, actually, all different breedables, and basically any 4-element breedable you can actually use it. Not that it's always going to be the best option, but for instance, we've got these breeding pages here, so say you wanted to breed any of these dragons and take them to E5, you could if you wanted to, but it gives you a good selection. There's another breeding chart as well, there's time breeding combos, there's second egg exclusives and such, but this gives you a big list of all the breedable dragons in the game. So I would have expected this guide to at least, you know, go into this somewhat about, you know, this is what you can actually breed. This is a 4-element legend. You can breed this. And then, of course, we've got Cosmic Detonation, which I've already made a separate guide on before because he actually has a skill. So you can actually breed dragons with skills also, but they are a massive exception. But Cosmic Detonation should be here, and it's not because this guide is useless. Focus on timing. Timing is critical in Dragon City battles. It would be best if you used your dragon's abilities strategically, waiting for the right moment. Use your weaker attacks to build up to more powerful moves. And save your strongest abilities for critical moments in battle. Do you see just how useless this is? Like, what's a weaker attack? What are we building up? This is often not true, because a big problem in Dragon City when we're talking about dragons with skills, let's think about a classic one. What's his name? Dual Prescription. Yes, I know it's perception, but he's prescription to me. These skills, they all have timers. So essentially, if you want to get the most use out of them, you use them as soon as you can, so that then you start the turn cooldown on them. So, like, if you want to get Time Steal used as many times as possible, you use it first, you swap to another dragon or use him again, and then that one will have 1 turn less that you have to wait until you can use Time Steal again. That's literally a basic of playing this game, and the guide just gets this wrong, completely backwards already. So, I don't know what you're building up to. You're not building up to anything. You literally want to use your time skills as soon as you can so that you begin the cooldown on them. So, this doesn't make any sense. Train your dragons regularly. Training your dragons is essential to increase their stats and improve their abilities. This is actually not true, believe it or not. Just to put it in perspective, most of my dragons these days are actually not trained. Now, if you train them, of course they are going to be slightly more powerful, they're going to do more damage. I am actually training one of them at the moment, which I'm usually not, I need to remind myself. But the difference when you train a dragon's skill like Archaic Pain, for instance, is not a huge difference to the point where you'll lose most battles. That being said, you definitely still should. So it kind of gets this right and also gets it wrong. It says specifically that it's essential to increase their stats and improve their abilities, and this is not true. It is not essential, and you could go your entire Dragon City life without ever training your dragon, and it honestly would not make that much difference. You can do all the damage calculations yourself. I'd still recommend training, but it is not essential. It is nowhere near as important as the elemental composition and the skills on your dragons. Just outright, it's not. So the more you train your dragons, the stronger they become. Ensure that you spend enough time training your dragons and use the best training methods available. There is no other training method available apart from going over to the training area and clicking train. So, yeah. Thanks, AI. Join a clan. Joining a clan in Dragon City can be beneficial in many ways. Clans provide a sense of community and support, and you can participate in clan battles to earn extra rewards and improve your team. The last time we had a clan battle was... well, I came back like 2 years ago and we've not had one since, so this is like way outdated. You can also get advice and tips from other experienced players in your clan. You can, but what if the other players in your clan aren't very smart? Then this could actually be really detrimental. There are a lot of players that are really not very wise when it comes to Dragon City mechanics, so I actually fundamentally disagree with this. I don't think that joining a clan is just fundamentally guaranteed to help you. In fact, some clans could do the exact opposite, scam you out of orbs and actually screw you over. So that's why you should have a lot of different information sources, because imagine if your only information source was this Ditlep page. You'd turn into an idiot. Anyway, participate in events. Dragon City regularly hosts events that offer rewards and bonuses. Participating in these events can help to earn valuable resources and improve your team. Keep an eye out for these events and participate as much as possible. This is very generic, but this is probably the only true paragraph I've actually read so far. The events in the game are incredibly important for getting, it should state Joker Orbs. They're incredibly important for getting Essence if you want to do trading and that sort of thing. You'll get food from events which you can use for your dragons, but they don't actually help you in combat. So I don't know why this is being mentioned in the combat section. It should have its own events dedicated page, which maybe it does, but it's not really relevant to how you win your league or arena battles. And this is an arena and league battle page, and I've not heard anything that's actually specific to leagues yet. This is so generic, it doesn't even like touch on leagues at all, which are a very different ballpark to arena. Anyway, use runes and items effectively. Runes and items can provide significant boost to your dragons. Use them strategically to improve your dragon stats, heal them, or apply buffs. However, be careful not to waste them and use them only when necessary. Thank you for anything specific there. In conclusion, winning battles in DC requires a combination of strategy, knowledge, and practice. Building a strong team, understanding your dragon's abilities, timing your attacks, this is such a stupid thing, and utilizing resources effectively can help you become a champion in the arena. What are we becoming a champion of? Like, are we going for rank 1? Are we going for Masters 3? Because all that actually matters when it comes to arena, to be honest with you, is can you do your alliance battles when the arena comes up? And are you getting to Masters 3 consistently? Because I'm in Masters 2, but we can easily grind up to Masters 3 in no time, like 11,999, even with 2 days left, we can do that. But can you actually win in Masters 3? It's skill-based matchmaking. This guide doesn't touch on that at all. So that would have been really, really important to mention, that all of your opponents are based on, at the moment, the difficulty, well, not the difficulty, the levels / power, air quotes, of your own dragons. And this guide doesn't mention that even once. So that's a big thing it's missing as well. And so keep practicing and experimenting with different techniques, and soon you'll be the one dominating in DC battles. Honestly, the game is so basic, you don't need to experiment yourself. It's pretty clear and obvious, and although some new dragons that get released, people say, that's crap, that's a bad dragon, and it's not true. People said that Harpy was a useless dragon. People said that High Quantum Wormhole was a useless dragon, and I see this with HVIPs a lot. If we think about High Quantum Wormhole, in essence, he's not really matched up with many Karmas, and I get it. For his skill, he can't face High Master Karma outside of, you know, open arenas. But when he does, he is incredibly useful. But the thing is, there is a big difference between non-skilled High Quantum Wormhole and skilled High Quantum Wormhole. And skilled High Quantum Wormhole is a very good dragon. And that's among the HVIPs even. He is considered incredibly good. And then, of course, we've got White Tip Berserker, who at the moment I think is considered one of the best heroic VIPs ever released. That's skinless. Anyway, once we take skins into account, things can change a lot. But then we've got High Arcana Judgment and we've got High Redemption Norn. And a lot of the time on release, even for basic heroics, you see a lot of people go, oh, that dragon's crap. And it's just because they've not used it. They've not tested it. They don't know anything about it. And they're just judging it when they've done like one battle with it, when it's not ranked up, not empowered, nothing. And I don't trust people that instantly make judgments on dragons. So even with Extractor, like, I know that Instructors at the moment have been pretty underwhelming, but I still don't think there's been quite enough time to utilize them. But after a few months, we normally have a good idea of roughly how good a dragon is after enough testing and enough of the pay-to-win folks have told us. But if you're making a judgment on a dragon in the first week, you're probably talking out of your ass, like, just being honest with you. So there is that. And some of these dragons I haven't been able to use myself yet, like Norn I've only been able to use on an alt account. I can't use this on my main, so I don't get a lot of experience with them, but we know that Revive is an incredibly useful skill. And we know that No Remorse can be very useful, but it's mainly the reincarnation, to be honest, that makes her so scary and annoying to face. So, all things considered, this website mentioned nothing useful. I think reading these guides will actively make you a worse player, and you'll assume that everything is just very generic and very whatever, but it's a very specific game, and there are very, let's say, unbalanced aspects of this game. Like, heroic VIPs are just very overpowered, we know that, and heroics are all the same because they all have the same stats. Like the regular heroics, there are a couple of regular heroics that do have skills like High Commander, but honestly, his skill doesn't make him so incredibly overpowered like the other heroic VIPs. He definitely can come in clutch sometimes, but you really don't need such a generic guide to tell you, use a strong attack, don't get hit by an attack that's super effective against you. Like, anyone can tell you that. What you actually need is some guidance on, you know, what skills you might want to be looking for, which I've gone through in my, you know, legendary guides before. But it is so difficult to make a dedicated guide for this because Arena specifically, every single Masters Arena, and Masters Arena, to be honest, is the only one that really matters, just being real with any of the newer players. This is the one that you should base your meta picks and things like that around, your skills around. It's so important because we have one allowed element per arena and we have one banned element, which means you need a big variety of dragons, a very large variety. I've got 3 war dragons here, but say one of them had metal, that's it, I can't use that dragon. And then I've only got 2 dragons to use. So you need a massive variety of dragons while also having at least 3 dragons with the same elements, ideally 4, so that then they don't all get banned out. But, you know, that would be such a long video to go through every single, I guess, specific little tidbit to take into account, and those AI generated responses cannot help you in the slightest. So my TLDR for today is please don't use these. They are AI generated and they are not accurate. And even if you find one that is not AI generated, it's probably just been copy and pasted from another website anyway. And I just don't think that these are conducive to making you more knowledgeable about the game. It's just going to give you a ChatGPT response. So it was funny reading it the first time, but then a bit sad reading it the second time and just being like, it's just wrong. I don't even know where it got this from. 2 to 15 gems per run. Oh, it's ridiculous. But this is why you should use Ditlep for ongoing events, for useful information like quest info, but please be very hesitant about what parts of this website you use and what you don't. Use it for what it's good at, ignore it for everything else, please. I don't want you coming out stupider than when you went in.